Mia Khalifa is back in the news because last week we discussed she went on a pro-divorce rant where she basically said, if your marriage isn't working out, I know the paperwork is difficult, but you gotta fill it out anyways and just leave your men because men are evil.
Yeah.
Well, she has since been threatened with grape and unaliving, and that is not good. And she went on another tirade, did she not, Mary?
Yeah, she's doubled down on her take, which is weirdly not anti-marriage. She's gotten married twice and engaged 3 times. Broke off her recent engagement. She's not anti-marriage. She is pro-divorce specifically.
She loves divorce.
But her clarification here is such a cop-out because she's saying, oh no, this isn't about marriage in general. It's only if you get married young and you're in a toxic relationship that's unhealthy or abusive or da-da-da-da. But in the original video, it didn't mention that at all. It just said, you know, if you're not 1000% happy and satisfied in your relationship for any reason whatsoever, leave the person.
What I think we have here is people talking at each other, not to each other. I think that there's...
Well, you love reaching across the aisle.
There's
Brett.
nuance here that's not being explored by either side. But let's watch the first clip here.
She's sounding very unhinged in all of these videos, by the way.
Is it?
I think she's like reeling from the broken engagement.
That's what I was going to say. She sounds like a heartbroken woman who's like flailing.
Here we go.
We should not be afraid to leave these men. I woke up to 30,000 UNALIVE and grape threats on Twitter today over
I'm
that
sure it
take,
was 30,000 and you
really
counted them
failing
all
to
one
see
by
what's
one.
wrong with it. I'm failing to see what's wrong in telling young women who get married young that if they are in relationships that are unhealthy and toxic and make them unhappy, that just because they made a commitment, they are not stuck in these relationships. The only people who are mad, it seems like to me, are the men who are the toxic ones in these relationships and who are afraid of their women having self-realization and exercising free will and leaving them. Because the only thing holding their relationships
like on the
together
verge of tears.
is probably the fact that they made a commitment, and their religion and families fucking perpetuate that ideal that you have to stay in a relationship you committed to. You don't. If you're unhappy, get the fuck out of there.
Okay. Remember, marriage is a sanctimonious thing, Mary. She called...
I love how she's putting quotes around commitment as if marriage isn't like some kind of fake commitment. Like, girl, if it's fake, why did you do it twice?
Yep.
Why were you almost going to do it 3 times? If it's just paperwork, if it doesn't matter,
It's just
if you
tax
can
breaks.
leave at any time, why? I just don't understand. And she's putting quotes around like religion and family, like things that actually matter to the rest of the world who aren't, you know, past and current corn stars.
Yep.
Sorry to say it, but I mean, it's true. We're not taking advice from you. You don't have any credibility.
There is a certain amount of disdain held nowadays for the idea of not just accepting that you're not going to be 100% happy all the time.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to be 110% happy all the time. There was a video that was going around yesterday. I wish I'd pulled it up now. Did you see this video? So it's a lady. She's sitting across from somebody at a restaurant. Right?
Okay.
And somebody's going to put a ring on her finger. And like...
Oh, no, I saw this.
So stuff starts flashing before her eyes like she's doing
cleaning
dishes.
pots and
She's
pans.
cleaning pots and pans. She's
Rocking
folding laundry.
the baby.
But the thing is, like, the big ones were cleaning. I'm like, don't you clean when you're single?
Right.
What
No,
the
she
hell?
just lives in a filthy ass pig den.
Like, but the idea here is it's the cynical view towards any type of
Filthy ass pig
commitment whatsoever. Like, you're
Yeah.
going to be locked down. Guess what? In 20 years, you know, the rocking of the baby and the cleaning of dishes and pots and pans pays itself off in the people that sit around your bedside when you're dying.
Yes.
It does. Okay. Like,
And it's weird because it's the young, impressionable, cute girl giving all of this propaganda to the other young, impressionable, cute girls. And it's sad.
When my mom passed, I don't think she worried about you know, having to fold laundry or do dishes or cook food or
wasted
rock
so
babies.
much time,
What mattered was that
taking
me,
care of my children.
my brother, my uncles were all there to be with her when she passed. These people, there's a culture now that tells you constantly, whether it's from Hollywood, whether it's from social media, think about now. think about instant gratification. Do not think about the future, because Social Security is going to be gone in 20 years and you won't be able to afford a house and everything's going to be awful anyways. It's defeatist, it's nihilistic, it's pathetic.
And narcissist.
And it's extremely narcissistic, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's insane.
Let's
There's a $20 one there first from Tim from Benrick5.
He said Tim said it right. Super marriage should be a thing. Sorry. Married with 3+ kids, living together, no taxes. I mean, selfishly, I would benefit, but I love it. Hungary has family benefits.
Yeah. Yep.
P.S. Preview any content your kids might watch.
Absolutely check out anything, especially if it's new, right? That's why
Wait,
so
what
many
is?
people.
I don't understand super marriage.
So if you get married and you have more than 3 kids, you don't pay taxes.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
I've never heard of that phrase before.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, to his point, you know, you have to watch everything. You have to pre-watch what you're showing your kids. You have to pre-read what you're letting your kids consume. And, you know, with my 2 boys, they're both very young now, so I still am not having to worry about their own interest too much. I still have mostly control. But we've just been mostly watching like kids stuff that I watched when I grew up, because old Barneys are available and old Blue's Clues are available. And, you know.
You should show them Paw Patrol for that police propaganda. You want to get the kids the police propaganda.
I mean, my kids love Paw Patrol. Oh my God, that theme song. Oh, I listen to it 4,000 times a day. Anyways.
If you want to know, also, just this is a minor aside, but like if you're wondering how the TikTok rabbit hole is awful, this is what was the next suggested video when we watch this. It says, made breast milk popsicles for concrete.
I've seen that before.
Why?
Yeah, it says trying breast milk popsicle
Why?
limeade for concrete.
It's gross.
And then next to it looks to be a Brett Cooper video. So I don't know how
random.
those end up in the same place together, but
Okay.
you know, that's what it is.
We've got more videos from Mia Khalifa about this subject to review next.
Here we go.
Oh my God, of course it's not that easy if you have kids, but what do you want to teach your kids? Do you want to teach them to put up with things simply for the betterment of someone else? And at the end of the day, is it for the betterment of your children if you're unhappy?
This is sad.
Literally, the definition of tolerance is to put up with something for the betterment of someone else because you have empathy. So,
Well, also family in a lot of ways
that is something that
not
you teach your
indulging.
kids.
Family is a lot about not indulging your personal whims and desires for the sake of those you love.
Yep.
Right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, guys. So that's the narcissistic culture that we live in.
Yep.
And maybe narcissistic culture wouldn't be so bad if they weren't trying to then speak on issues that have nothing to do with that shouldn't have anything to do with a narcissistic point of view, which is marriage and family and kids.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Caught one. All right.
Like, did you see that Kim Kardashian quote where she said, like, I'm choosing my happiness and I'm prioritizing my happiness for the first time in my life.
Oh my
And
gosh.
maybe it caused my divorce, but who cares? I'm choosing myself. Like,
Yep.
yeah, I don't think you've ever not chosen yourself.
Yeah.
Let's watch this one. We got one more here. It says, not about paperwork. Not everyone has the luxury that you do because you have money. Not only is marriage far-fetched because of expenses, divorce. I'm just reading it word for word.
Excuse me? Baby girl, divorce is expensive for everybody, especially if you're the one who has to pay the alimony to the broke-ass bum. What you are saying with this statement
It's
is
a
that
bum when
you
it's a man.
personally
It's
would
not when it's a
sacrifice your
woman.
independence
Okay.
and your freedom and your
point.
peace of mind and your happiness for a little financial stability? At what price? At what cost? To me, that seems way more expensive than, I don't know, a couple $1,000s to break up. What? Like, y'all really gotta stop conditioning yourselves to feel like you can't take care of yourself. You are not at the whims
she
of these
Italian?
men. You can leave and start
No,
your
she does
own
really good
life.
pedicure.
You should leave and
Manicure.
start your own life if you're not happy with everything.
Everything
should meet your standards. Otherwise, get the fuck out.
What about someone else's standards? What if you're not meeting their standards?
Yeah.
We can't all just exist as soulless, individualist automatons.
And there it is right there. It's the idea that you're going to be 100% happy all the time. Funny how that is, that like everyone thinks that you're going to be 100% happy all the time, and what we've ended up with is a culture that's less happy than it's ever been.
It's the most depressed and anxious culture. It's so sad.
She's saying this as she's like, Prozac, so loved. Like
Probably,
there's a
yeah.
$20 one there from Dragon's Talon 1001.
Marriage is not about the parents' narcissism. It is a duty to raise the children for the future generations.
I mean, but not all marriages have children, right? Like, I mean, we're assuming that here, but like the idea is not so.
Well, it's also like you give yourself to your children. You also pour everything into your spouse and not yourself. Yeah.
And that's
marriage
what's
is not about
fulfilling.
self-care.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so fulfilling about marriage. You know, you want to make that person happy and serve that person, and you want to build this beautiful life together, this whole thing. So it's really sad that she's saying this and she's feeling this way. It sounds like she probably never should have I guess gotten married. I don't think she was with the right people, but you know, when you make that commitment, there's a reason why it's a commitment. So I don't know. She's really sad. She's a sad woman.
Is there one more? I think there's one more.
I believe there's one where she calls her critics virgin incels.
Do you know how I know that people who make comments like these are absolute virgin incels? Because 23 people over 10 years, I'm 30, is 2.5 people a year.
Yeah, so this is based on a TikTok trend where you would compare yourself as a woman to a car and give like a mileage and number of owners that you've had, which is really kind of misogynistic and degrading if you think about it.
Just a little bit.
Of course, all the women with the highest body counts were the ones participating because they have this weird like shame instinct to like push all of their dirty laundry onto the public and judge them.
Or are they is it like a weird type of bragging? Are they bragging?
But also
it's kind of like when people say, "Oh, it's like a dude has a one night stand."
It's a cry for help, honestly.
And then people like say something about it. It's like, I feel judged. What you're doing is bragging, but you're saying I feel judged. But you're bragging.
Yeah. It's bragging, but it's also like a cry for help, in my opinion. But she said like her mileage is 10 years, so it's 100K miles, and then 23 owners. Mia Khalifa, relatively low body count for an ex or current porn star.
Yes. Yeah.
To be fair, but that's high in my opinion.
You ever heard the Chris Rock skit where he talks about like this was like in '96 and he's talking. He doesn't say body count, but he's talking about he's like women only count their boyfriends. They don't count all the miscellaneous.
That's probably true.
He's like they don't count all the miscellaneous dick they've had.
Miscellaneous.
She's talking about the guy at the club. The time she effed Bobby Brown, like it's they just count their boyfriends. He goes, why do you want to know? He's like, because no matter what number she tells you, it's too many for you. It's too much for you. Like, why would you want to know? So, but nowadays,
everyone who disagrees with me, Khalifa, is a virgin incel.
Exactly. That's exactly
Just
what it
so
is.
you know.
I think that narcissism is I think you hit the nail on the head, that it really does have a lot to do with the fact that we don't really put any value on doing for others anymore. Yeah. Like you're expected to seek out your own happiness, and the idea of marriage is now supposed to be that it's about that marriage making you happy.
Yeah.
Rather it's supposed than to be about self-sacrifice. And that's like a reason why people aren't getting married and becoming parents as much, or at least they're waiting way longer. And it's also probably one of the reasons why there's like a priest shortage or a nursing shortage, or like all of these different.
Is there a nursing shortage?
Yeah. All of these different, career paths or lifestyles that require self-sacrifice are suddenly having shortages. Gee, I wonder why.
Maybe they all got injured from those dancing TikTok videos and they were tired.
I hated those.
They were like.
Or they all got hired off by.
Well, those were the
stars,
remaining ones.
Influencer, yeah, like that. Have you seen the video? It's like me. It's like a guy. It's like he's got the thing with the banana bag with the fluids. He's like, I just got told I've got a month to live, and then he's like, looks out the window, and it's a nurse dancing outside. It's that was a crazy time.
Yes, it was.
That was like the propaganda.
I'd rather
was real.
forget.
The amount of people like I loved the rationalizations. Like they're just blowing off steam.
No, they're saying they're coping with the trauma of the trauma of treating people with COVID.
That was my favorite.
Really?
They're just blowing.
Can they do that at the break room? Can they not post it?
Yeah, does it need to be posted?
Wow.
Right? Like they want to keep everybody else in good spirits, and like, really? Is that really what it is?
I'm just like over there on a ventilator dying of COVID, and I'm watching a nurse twerk, and I'm like, wow, I'm like holding on for dear life.
Did you also see the video recently of the lady who's like, it's a guy, he's in an emergency room. And he's like, they said I need a splint, and he zooms in, and it's a nurse looking up how to do a splint on the computer. And he's just like, bro.
Well, and it's like, I'm glad that like whatever the bill was, like it was some absurd amount.
6
oh my
figures
god,
or something. Yeah.
so funny.
That's what happens now.
How to wrap a splint.
That's like, it's like you've been doing this for how long? And that is scary stuff right there, right? So what you're saying is they're not all like the doctors in those medical shows.
No.
That's the problem here. Do you think that are there any influencers that can counter this type of narrative? Because like what she's saying is not unique. What she's saying is very much ingrained in the culture, and not just from somebody who does adult films.
Yeah.
This is ingrained in culture at all levels.
Gotta be Bobby Althoff.
No.
26-year-old mother of 2. She suddenly has a podcast. No one knows why it's successful.
Tell Sydney Sweeney, have some kids quick and get married. You influence people.
Actually, that's true. If Sydney Sweeney became a young mom, like who knows how many stupid girls would think, I can do that too.
And there is a dark corollary here, which is the trad wife movement, which is, it's a great in concept, but has become, these things end up becoming sort of
they make
overblown.
Everything they do cringe, and no one wants to be cringe, so
but also,
they're not
like,
going to follow you.
It's not trad to be online and have a huge social media following, and just because you're promoting ideals doesn't mean you necessarily live those ideals.
Yeah.
And a lot of times
there was one that literally cosplays as Marilyn Monroe and said that she like basically is a live-in girlfriend who like makes cookies. I don't know. Like that's not trad.
No, that's wacky. That's crazy.
But I'm saying like the internet loves an exaggerated story, right? So you don't succeed by being measured and even keel. You succeed by pushing yourself to the edges of these ideas.
Right.
And the edge of that idea is like the cover of an issue of Red Book from the 50s, but even worse somehow, right? So if you have to choose between that and Mia Khalifa, the public is starved for maybe some more rational takes closer to the middle.
Well, I think that's right. Very much so starved. And as a mother, and and having my mommy friends and my little mommy group and stuff, it's crazy what we're exposed to on Instagram. Like as mothers, like the way we're supposed to interact with our kids from these like influencers, these experts,
the
like
momfluencers.
it's a crazy. Like
you can't tell your kids no because that's like destructive to their emotional health or something crazy like that.
Yes, I mean there's
you
so
have to
much.
Let them draw on the walls and
I mean no, it's true though. There's so much judgment and there's so much pressure from these accounts. I was like, I followed a couple and I was like, this is crazy, I'm unfollowing. But that was an easy thing for me to do. These other women that I know, they lose sleep over this stuff, and it's really
Do you follow,
crazy.
Ballerina Farm?
Yes,
I knew it.
yes.
She's a good example, I think.
Here's some pushback. Radioactive Girl Scout says, why don't ever talk about being better men and husbands? That's a different sphere here, right? So like men are having their own conversations, and there are plenty of debates going on right now about your Jordan Peterson versus your Andrew Tates. Right? Like about what it means to be a good husband, to be a good provider in a society now that tells you both you're supposed to be a provider, but also independent woman, don't need no man. The ideas are very muddled because we didn't know how to react to a society that became more equal, right? Like my generation grew up with everyone, all the girls being told, like, look, go become a CEO, become president, do all these things. Boys weren't really taught how to deal with the change in gender dynamics. And for that cause, it is fair to have the discussion about, how do you be a better husband and a better father in a culture that doesn't really seem to want to give great examples of how to be a better husband or father other than just listen to your wife. That seems to be the mainstream narrative, is just be a
wife,
doormat.
happy life.
Exactly, right? So that's a valid point. There are discussions that should be had there, but it seems
Not
like
here.
So we're not here to have those discussions. We're here to make fun of stuff. But at the end of the day, like, it seems like the people who end up having these discussions, the men are the ones that are going to criticize men, and the women are the ones that are going to criticize women.
Yeah, no, and that's right. I mean, these women online, these moms. Sorry, I'm obviously stuck on this mom thing, but they criticize each other. They criticize themselves constantly. They put so much pressure on themselves. I mean, like one of the biggest fake things I've heard is how many moms feel like they're so pressured to breastfeed. Yep. And I mean, I guess I got that maybe a little bit in the hospital, but nobody makes breastfeed moms feel lesser than formula, like moms who formula feed. But online, the way that everybody talks about how it's
mom
this big
Facebook
thing,
groups are the devil.
They are. They're crazy.
They're the devil.
And anyway, all this to say, I can see if you're dabbling into the mom Instagram influencer territory, how that would be extremely overwhelming as somebody who's, if you're a new mom or wanting to maybe be a mom or something, like if that's what your example is, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.